Hello and welcome to Self-Aware Soul. I'm Jacinta, your guide to personal and spiritual growth. Over the past few weeks, I stepped away from creating content and posting on social media. Part of it was because life needed my attention elsewhere. There were repairs to deal with, responsibilities to take care of, and things that simply could not be ignored. But something unexpected happened during that time. I found myself returning to activities I had not made time for in years. Like many people, I have collected stuff, supplies over the years, materials for projects I wanted to do someday. Some supplies that were carefully chosen and tucked away for when I had more time. Well, someday finally arrived. As I started opening boxes and sorting through everything, I felt a sense of excitement. There were items I had completely forgotten about, ideas I had once been inspired by, projects that had patiently waited for me all this time. What surprised me wasn't what I created. It was how I felt while creating. Many of these projects required patience. They required focus, attention to detail. There was no rushing through them. I guess that's why it was set aside, thinking, okay, when I have more time, I'll get to it. But years went by. Anyhow, finally I felt like I needed time for myself, and I thought I'll just dig into my craft materials. For those moments, my mind wasn't thinking about tomorrow. It wasn't focused on a to-do list. It wasn't solving problems or planning the next thing. I was simply present. And in a world that constantly encourages us to do more, achieve more, and stay busy, that feeling was incredibly refreshing because that's my habit. I like being busy. And we all think we have to work hard. Even though I took a break, I was busy, but it was different kind of busy. I was busy doing the things that I was really enjoying. I think many of us underestimate the value of slowing down. Sometimes we become so focused on being productive that we forget what it feels like to simply enjoy the process of doing something. Not because it makes money, not because it advances our career, not because it checks another box on a list, but simply because it brings us joy. How many of you have stopped and think for a moment, what do I like doing? What do I want to do that brings joy? Take a break. As I worked on these projects, I noticed how calming it felt. My breathing slowed. My thought became quieter. Hours would pass without me noticing. Yes, I enjoyed it so much that I would be so engrossed in being creative. Before you know it was 11, 12 o'clock at night, and it didn't bother me. It reminded me of something important. Healing doesn't always happen through deep conversation or major breakthrough. Sometimes healing happens when we give ourselves permission to be fully present. Sometimes healing happens while painting, knitting, gardening, baking, crafting, writing, or doing anything that allows us to lose ourselves in the moment. I also realize that many of the things we put off are often the very things our soul is asking for. We're always telling ourselves we'll do them when we have more time, when life settles down, when everything else is finished. I know before I took this break, I was starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed. And for someone who talk about or teaches how to take care of ourselves before we get burned out, I had to look at myself and then ask myself, what do I feel? I know I was feeling overwhelmed, and I wanted to prevent myself from pushing myself doing everything that was required of me. I decided to take a break and take care of myself. Do something that I really enjoy before I lose passion for doing everything else. So that's why I went quiet. But life has always a way of giving us something else to do. If we are not careful, years can pass before we return to the things that once brought us happiness. So today I want to leave you with a simple question. What have you been putting off that once brought you joy? Maybe it's something creative. Maybe it's something playful. Maybe it's something you've convinced yourself isn't important. What if it is important? What if that activity isn't a distraction from your life? What if it's a part of what helps you feel alive? This week, I'd like to invite you to spend a little time doing something simply because you enjoy it. No goal, no pressure, no expectation. Just give yourself permission to be present. You may discover, as I did, sometimes the greatest gift we can give ourselves is simply the space to slow down. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, be kind to yourself, trust your journey, and let your heart speak. Yes, we do need to let our heart guide us